8 years ago when I met my wife, I didn't know anything about Korean culture. I'd never had any Korean food, kimchi, couldn't use chopsticks. I knew Jisung Park and Song Hyung-min and the 2002 World Cup. But a lot's changed since then. It's been 8 years. I drink iced Americanos now. I can speak a little bit the language, but still learning that. I've been to Korea many times. I got married in Korea. And yeah, in this video, I want to talk about some culture shocks I experienced along the way and some ways that I've adapted to have more of a Korean life. So when I first met my wife, one of the things that made her really happy was the fact that we were the same age and we was born in the same year, which was a little bit weird for me. I didn't really understand why it was such a big deal, but I remember her and her friends being really happy when I told them that we were all born in the same year. Because in the UK, age is kind of like some mysterious thing that you don't usually ask. I don't know when you ask it, because you don't ask it at the start, definitely not. And sometimes it takes months and even years until you actually find out someone's age. It's seen as like more of a private thing. But in Korea, it's totally different. It's one of the first questions that people will ask you because it dictates the whole relationship that you have with that person. The language is totally different if you're talking to someone who is older than you or if you're younger than them. And it's kind of like the older person gets a lot more power in the relationship. I don't really know how to describe that. But if you go out for a meal, they are more likely to pay probably, but you're more likely to go and get the chopsticks or go and get the water or order the food when the waiter comes. And so being friends with someone who's born in the same year, it just kind of relaxes you and knows that you don't have to speak in a formal way. Anyone that watches Korean reality shows or Korean dramas will know that one of the first questions that people get asked is the age. When I first met my wife's father-in-law, I broke every single rule there is to break when it comes to drinking culture in Korea, because unlike the UK where it's kind of you order a drink, usually maybe you'd do rounds, so people would buy everyone's drink, then the next person would buy everyone's drink. In Korea, there's a lot more to it than that. You have to accept a drink with both hands. So if you're pouring someone a beer, they should have both hands on a glass. You should also have both hands as you're pouring. And when I first met my wife's family, I was pouring a glass of beer for my mother-in-law, and I just like leant across the table and just poured like the bottle into a glass with one hand, and everyone was kind of like shocked because it's kind of like a little bit disrespectful. Obviously they knew I didn't know that, and it wasn't like a big deal or anything. But that was one of the first things I broke. Also, if you're drinking with someone who's older than you, you should be refilling their glass. And if their glass is empty, it's like not really a good thing. You should actively be looking to see if their glass is empty and start filling it up. I've also got salt bread here that you'll probably see slowly get smaller and smaller as the video goes along because I'm eating it in between. But this is like quite a common pastry in Korea. It has like huge chunks of salt in it, but it's really good. It goes well with the iced coffee as well. The thing you always hear about Korea is that it's remarkably safe and you can leave your laptop on your coffee table if you're in Starbucks and go to the toilet and come back and it'll still be there. I actually pushed this to the limits accidentally when I was in Korea, because the night before my wedding, I lost my backpack, which wasn't just a backpack, it had my passport, all my cash. So obviously I was panicking, because if this was in the UK, there'd be zero chance of getting that back. I went back to the place that I thought it could potentially be, and the staff like couldn't have been nicer. They were like trying to help me. They couldn't speak much English. But it turns out someone had put my bag behind the counter at this cafe and like wrote a note and said like someone's left this. Yeah, really thankful at that point how trustworthy like people are in Korea with other people's possessions, because I know a lot of other places that would have just been gone. So my wife always talks about the beauty standards in Korea and how, especially for women, you're expected to really look after the way you look. And before I met my wife, my skincare routine was pretty much getting a cold water, splashing it on my face and off I go. But now I do actually use moisturizer and all sorts of kind of stuff. I don't really know what I'm using half the time. I just, to do what my wife tells me. But last year I was in Olive Young, and sometimes they have these like places where you can get your skin analysed. This time they had in the men's section, you can get your eyebrows analysed. Obviously that's something I'd never done before. I'd never even touched my eyebrows in my life. But there was no queue and my wife was spending ages in Olive Young, so I thought, yeah, might as well give it a go. Straight away I could see like there was a big difference when they did one and compared to the other. I was like, oh God, this one's a mess now. Part of the Korean culture is, it's like optimizing like everything about yourself, like your skin, even down to your eyebrows. And yeah, I left that shop. I had like a full detailed plan of where I should cut my eyebrows. Every week I should be cutting it like this and using this cream and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, yeah, maybe I should be doing that. And then I realised, no, actually, I don't need to do that. I've never cut my eyebrows in my life. Don't need to start now. One thing that I never expected to happen was that I would really enjoy Korean TV and movies, because when I met my wife at that time, that was like pre-Parasite, pre-K-pop becoming, I guess, like mainstream that it is now. But I really enjoy Korean music, I really enjoy Korean movies, but most of all, I love Korean TV. So especially reality TV. A weekly show of mine is like I Live Alone, Nahon Sanda, and Nanan Solo. I Am Solo, which is like a weekly show. It's like 2 hours long, but I don't miss an episode. I actually watch more Korean TV now than I do English speaking TV. And it's taught me a lot as well about the language, how people speak, a lot about food, how people live in Korea. I just find it really interesting. And I'm running a marathon in a few months, and an episode I keep going back to in I Live Alone is when Kian runs a marathon in New York, and he does a few other ones, and I always like watch them as kind of like motivation. So yeah, although I do live in Australia, Korea has shaped me a lot. We do visit Korea a lot. Maybe we'll live there one day. I don't know. But yeah, there's loads more to it than this. This is just like a short video. If anyone wants to see any more, please let me know, and I'll see you on the next one.